Mira sat alone inside her old ship, watching stars pass slowly across the window. Her ship floated at the edge of the shattered realm, where broken planets and dead moons drifted like ghosts. No one came here anymore. This place was forgotten. By time and by war. She had been here for 5 years. Not because she was trapped, but because she had nowhere else to go. Mira was not human. Her skin was smooth and pale blue. Her eyes dark and sharp like glass. Once, she was a fighter in the Zern Empire. Her people believed in strength, power, and winning at all costs. But Mira grew tired of war. She didn't want to conquer. She wanted peace. So, one day, she left to her people. That was betrayal. So, she ran far from them, to a place where even they would not follow. The Shattered Realm, long ago. It had been a battlefield. Human ships, Zern destroyers, and other alien forces had all fought here. No one won. Instead, the sun exploded, tearing apart every world in the system. All that was left were floating pieces of rock, broken stations, and dead machines. Most believed there was nothing valuable left here. But Mira knew better. Her sensors blinked, a signal. Faint, but real. Something was entering the edge of the realm. She leaned forward and read the screen. It was a small ship, human design, slow. Weak shields, old engine. What is a human doing here? She whispered. She stared at the signal. The ship was heading toward one of the broken moons. That moon had once held a human base, long before the final battle. Mira remembered it. She had flown above it during her training days, before she knew the meaning of fear. Now someone was returning. Inside that small human ship, Toma worked quietly. He was a simple man, not a soldier, not a leader. He fixed engines for the Earth Union. When no one else wanted to take hard jobs, he said yes. That's why he was here. To scan and report any salvageable wrecks in the dead system. His ship shook slightly as it passed into the shattered realm. Toma frowned. His sensors were glitching. The gravity around here was strange, pulling his ship off course. He steered slowly, carefully, heading toward the closest moon with a stable surface. He landed hard but safe. Dust flew up around the ship as it touched down. The air outside was toxic, but he had his suit. He checked his tools, loaded his scanner, and stepped out. Around him was silence. No sound, no wind. Just broken walls, metal remains, and large cracks in the ground. He walked slowly across the surface. He could still see markings on the walls, old human writing, worn by time. This place had been a command post once, but now it was a tomb. Toma wasn't afraid. He had seen dead places before, but something here felt different. Not empty, but waiting. From her hidden ship above, Mira watched him through her long-range lens. The man was calm. He moved slowly, not like a soldier, not like a thief. He scanned the ruins, touched broken panels, and even sat once to rest. She narrowed her eyes. Why would a single human come here alone? She checked her scanners again. His ship was damaged. Part of the hull was cracked. It looked like he hadn't meant to land here. Perhaps he was pulled in by the gravity like so many others before him. Mira sighed. If he stayed, he would die. But part of her was curious. Toma found something beneath the broken ground, an old hatch. He cleared the dust and opened it slowly. Below, he saw stairs leading into darkness. He turned on his suit light and climbed down. The air inside the base was thin but still there. The lights flickered faintly as he walked deeper. He found a room full of dead machines. Some were computers. Others looked like reactors or energy cells. And then, in the center, he saw it, a glowing core, still active. That was impossible. He stepped closer. The light inside the core was soft, blue, pulsing slowly. He touched a panel nearby. It lit up. The machine spoke in an old human voice. System waking. Defense grid offline. Repair needed. Toma blinked. Defense grid. He looked around. This was no simple base. It was something larger, older, more important. And now he had turned it on. Far above. Mira's ship shook. A pulse of energy moved through the space around the moon. Her sensors flashed red. "What did you do, human?" she said aloud. The pulse spread like a wave. Across the realm, broken stations lit up for the first time in centuries. Old satellites turned. Towers stood upright. The dead system had been touched, and now it was waking. Mira stood up. She could not stay in the shadows anymore. She had to meet the man who had awakened the heart of the shattered realm. Toma sat inside the dark control room, watching the machine core pulse with blue light. He could hear the low hum of energy returning to the systems. The old walls around him buzzed softly as power moved through cables that had been silent for centuries. He opened his small field notebook and began to write. Power source discovered. Core is active. Human-made. But something feels different. He paused, tapping the pen. This place was not just a base. It was connected to something bigger. He looked up at the machine again. It almost felt alive. Toma stood and moved toward another panel. He wiped away dust and tapped the surface. A map appeared, flickering and unstable. It showed the shattered realm, many broken moons and floating stations. But now, some of them glowed softly. The activation had spread. He frowned. That wasn't supposed to happen. Still, he wasn't afraid. He was a fixer. That's what he did. Something was broken, and he had the tools to make it work again. High above the moon, Mira's ship floated silently in orbit. She sat at the control desk, eyes fixed on the human's location. Her fingers moved across the screen, zooming in. She could see his small ship, half buried in dust. In the base entrance he had opened, she was still unsure. Was he just unlucky? Or was he sent? No human had entered the shattered realm in over 80 years. She checked the signal again. The pulse that came from the core was not weak. It had spread across the system like a message. And somewhere, someone else had heard it. Mira leaned back in her seat. She had been hiding for so long. She had told herself it was better not to interfere. But now a human was down there, inside a system full of sleeping power. And her old commander, Vesk, would feel that signal too. He never gave up on power or revenge. If he came here. She stood up. The time for hiding was over. Toma sat outside his ship, eating a small meal pack while looking up at the stars. The moon's sky was always dark, but tonight it felt heavier, like something was watching. He wasn't a man of many words. People often called him quiet or distant. But Toma wasn't cold. He just liked silence. Silence helped him think, fixing engines, solving systems, rewiring old ships. These were things that made sense to him. But this place, DIDN single quotes T. He had activated something big, and he didn't even know what it was yet. His radio buzzed, static at first, then a voice. Human, this is a warning. You are in danger. Toma blinked. He stood slowly and grabbed the radio. Who's this? Silence. Then again, leave the moon. Do not dig further. You have awakened something that should remain asleep. Toma narrowed his eyes. The voice was not human. It was soft but strange, like music in a tunnel. He pressed the button. I don't want trouble. I'm just fixing what I found. Another pause. You cannot fix this. Then the signal cut. Toma stood still for a long moment, staring at the stars. Later that night, Mira's ship landed on the far side of the moon, hidden behind a large rock ridge. She stepped out, wearing a cloak over her light armor. Her skin shimmered slightly under the stars. She moved silently across the rocks, heading toward the old base. She didn't want to scare him. Humans were cautious, especially when alone. She reached the edge of the base entrance and waited. Below, she could see him. The man was adjusting wires near the core again, calm, focused. She stepped forward. Human, she called. Toma jumped slightly and turned. His hand reached for his tool belt. I'm not your enemy, Mira said. Toma stared. He saw the blue skin, the tall figure, the dark eyes. He had seen her kind in pictures. Zern species, known for strength, speed, and sharp senses. But this one looked different. You sent the warning? He asked. She nodded. Yes, I didn't think you would stay. Toma shrugged. I didn't think you would come. They stood in silence for a moment. Finally, Mira stepped closer. My name is Mira. I used to be a fighter. I left that life. I've lived in the shadows of this system for years. Toma nodded slowly. I'm Toma. I fix old tech. I didn't mean to land here. My ship was pulled in. Mira looked at the core. You activated something very old. This place connects to systems across the realm. You've lit a beacon. I noticed, Toma said. Mira studied him. Do you know what this place really is? Toma shook his head. Mira pointed to the walls. This base was part of a human project. Long ago, your people tried to restore the system. They wanted to fix the broken worlds. But then the war came. Everything stopped. Toma frowned. So this was hope. Yes, she said. But now it's a target. If others find out this place is waking, they will come to claim it. Toma looked down at the glowing panel. Then I'll fix it before they do. Mira was surprised. You're alone. I know. And yet you stay. I fix what's broken. He said simply. Mira didn't smile, but her eyes softened. You are not like other humans I've met. You're not like other Zern either. She nodded. That's true. They stood together in the quiet room. The hum of the core continued around them. The broken world outside remained still, but now, two strangers stood inside it, no longer alone. The next morning, the sky over the moon remained dark. No sunrise ever touched this place. Still, Toma was already awake, working inside the base. He had barely slept, but he didn't mind. Something about the strange, broken system made him feel responsible. He stood beside the control panel and checked the readings. Power levels were rising, but not steady. Some of the towers across the realm were still dead. Others were waking slowly. It was like watching a giant creature come back to life after a long sleep. Mira entered quietly. She had slept in her ship, but now she stood behind him, watching. You've done more than I expected, she said. Toma didn't look up. This place is like an old machine. Broken, but not gone. It just needs time. She stepped closer. You think you can fix the whole system? I think I can try. Mira looked at the map on the screen. Several locations were marked with red. One of them blinked with yellow light. That one, she pointed, it was a power relay station. If you restart it, it could balance the energy flow. Toma nodded. Do you know the way? I've flown there before. It's not safe. The station is floating between two fractured moons. Gravity pulls in different directions. No one flies near it. Toma closed his toolkit. Then I'll take my ship. You won't make it alone, Mira said firmly. Toma looked at her. I'll guide you, she added. They took off together. Mira's ship was small but fast inside. Toma watched the stars move past the window. The realm looked quiet from above, but he knew silence didn't mean safety. As they flew, Mira spoke. You remind me of the old humans. Long ago, your kind came here with big dreams. They built machines to heal planets. They wanted to grow food, clean water, build homes. They didn't come to fight. They came to create. Toma listened carefully. But then war came. The Zern and others destroyed everything. And the humans who stayed and never came back. Why did you leave your people? He asked. She was quiet for a moment. Then she answered, I was part of the Storm Team's elite fighters. We were trained to take control of planets. But over time, I saw the damage. I saw children cry. Cities fall. We won battles, but lost meaning. So I left. Toma nodded slowly. I respect that. They didn't speak again until the ship reached the station. The power relay station floated between two broken moons. It was long and narrow, covered in black metal, with sharp edges like teeth. Large parts were missing, and debris floated around it like sharp rocks. Mira parked the ship in a docking tunnel. They stepped out into the cold, still airlock. The walls groaned as if tired from holding together. Inside, the station was dark. Only emergency lights flickered red. Toma led the way, holding a scanner. Mira followed close, watching every shadow. They reached the core room. Toma scanned the control panel. It was offline, but the circuits were not dead. This can work, he said. I just need to reroute the main conduit. He opened a panel and climbed inside. Wires ran like vines across the walls. He moved slowly, cutting and reconnecting. Mira stood guard. Her hand rested on a small baton at her belt, ready in case something moved out suddenly. A loud beat filled the air. Toma smiled. Got it? The lights turned on. Soft blue lines moved through the walls, and the hum of energy filled the station. But then another sound, a long, slow thump, like something heavy waking up. Mira turned sharply. Something else is here. Toma climbed out. What is it? She pointed down the hallway. Security bots, old ones, if they're active. They may see us as intruders, as if answering her. A red light flashed in the ceiling. A voice echoed from the speaker. Unauthorized access. Prepare for removal. Toma and Mira ran. Metal footsteps clanged behind them. Heavy machines moved through the halls. Tall, two-legged bots with glowing red eyes and strong arms, rusted, but still deadly. Mira pulled her baton and struck the first bot as it turned the corner. Sparks flew as she hit its head. It staggered, but didn't fall. Toma, back to the ship. Toma ran ahead, turning sharply into a side hall. He reached the dock and pressed the emergency door. The ship opened. Mira jumped back, dodging a bot swing. Then she dashed inside the ship and hit the launch command. The ship took off fast, leaving the station and the bots behind. Inside. They sat in silence for a moment, catching their breath. Then, Mira looked at the scanner. It worked, she said. Toma blinked. What? She showed him the map. The station is online. Energy is flowing through the system now. The core back at the base will be stable. He smiled. Then it was worth it. Mira looked at him. You're not a soldier, but you don't give up. I'm not here to fight, he said. I'm here to rebuild. She nodded slowly. Then maybe this realm has a future again, far away. On a dark ship hiding at the edge of the realm, another figure watched the energy signal spread. His name was Commander Vesk. He was tall, with hard eyes and silver armor. Behind him stood several Zern warriors, all waiting for his command. The signal has reached the outer systems, one of them said. Vesk stared at the screen. That's not possible. No one is supposed to enter the realm. There is a human, the soldier added, and a traitor. Vesk's eyes narrowed. Mira. He stood tall. Prepare the warship. We go to the realm. It belongs to us, and this time no one leaves alive. Mira and Toma returned to the moon base. The moment they landed, Toma ran straight to the core room. The lights inside the base were brighter now, and the hum of power was steady. He checked the control panel. The system showed green lines across most of the map. The energy flow from the relay station was stable. It worked, Toma said. The network is waking. Mira stood beside him, watching the screen. Her eyes were calm but alert. Good, she said. But it also means others can see it too. Toma turned to her. You mean Vesk? Yes, she said quietly. He will not ignore this. He follows power like a wolf follows blood. Toma looked at the screen again. The realm had started to come alive. But danger was now closer than ever. Far across the broken system, Commander Vesk's warship moved without sound. It was black and sharp, shaped like a blade. Inside, Vesk stood in front of a tall window, his eyes fixed on the stars. His second in command, Rulo, entered the chamber. Commander, we have traced the signal, Rulo said. It comes from the old human base on Moon 3. Mira is with them. Vesk's face stayed calm, but his eyes burned with anger. She dares to return, he said. Rulo stepped back. She has activated the ancient system. The power is spreading. Vesk turned slowly. This realm once belonged to the strong, he said, and it will again. Prepare the assault ships. We take it back, and we erase every trace of her. And the human, back at the moon base, Toma worked through the night. He opened new panels, fixed broken circuits, and connected old cables. The machines responded to him slowly. The base became more than just ruins. It became a working center. Again, Mira watched him with quiet respect. You're not afraid, she said. Toma smiled slightly. Afraid, yes, but I've been afraid before. Fear doesn't mean I stop. Mira nodded. She walked to a wall and placed her hand on a smooth metal plate. My people believe strength means control, she said, but I've seen more strength in your comm work than I ever saw in the battlefield. Toma didn't answer, but her words stayed in his heart. Suddenly, the base alarm buzzed. A red light blinked on the screen. Mira stepped forward quickly. A ship has entered the realm. Toma looked at the data. How many? Just one. But it's big, and it's Vesk's. In the cold darkness of space, Vesk's warship floated. Near the edge of the moon, he stood at the command deck, scanning the old structures below. Mira is here, he said to himself. So is the human. He turned to his officers. Send a message. Tell them we're coming, and no more warnings. Inside the moon base, the message came through. It was short and clear. This realm belongs to the strong. You have 1 hour. Then we come. Toma read it silently. They're not going to talk, are they? He asked. No, Mira said. Vesk never talks twice. Toma looked at the power map again. We need time. If we can finish the core link, we can activate the shield system. Mira's eyes widened. There was a defense grid. Yes, I saw the plan hidden in the old systems. But it needs full power. If we activate it, the realm can protect itself. Mira stood tall. Then we give you time. An hour passed like a breath. Vesk's ship descended toward the moon. Smaller ships flew out from it. Dark and fast, they carried elite Zern warriors trained to strike without mercy. But Mira was ready. She met them in the rocky fields outside. The base, her baton lit with soft energy. She stood alone, waiting. The first wave came fast. 3 warriors landed with a crash. They moved in tight formation. Mira didn't wait. She dashed forward, her movements quick like wind. Her baton struck with sharp, clean hits. One enemy fell. Another tried to block, but she moved under his arm and sent him to the ground. But there were more. Toma watched the battle through the screen. He wanted to help, but Mira had told him clearly, your battle is inside. Finish the link. That's how we survive. So he worked. He opened the last core system and connected the final cables. Sparks flew. The system resisted, but he held the wire steady. A soft tone rang through the base. Defense grid, ready. Activation available. He pressed the command dot all around the moon. Hidden towers opened from the ground. Panels slid apart. Energy fields formed. The air shimmered with invisible light. Mira jumped back as the next wave of warriors approached. Her arms ached, but she stood firm. Then she heard the soft hum in the sky. The defense grid. A bright wall of light formed between her and the enemy. Zern ships above were struck by beams of clean energy. One by one, they fell, spinning out of control. The field wrapped around the base like a protective shell. Mira ran back inside. Toma stood near the control screen, sweat on his forehead but a quiet smile on his face. You did it, she said. We did it? He answered. On the warship above, Vesk roared in anger. Impossible. He shouted. That system was dead. Rulo lowered his eyes. The human, he rebuilt it. Vesk slammed his hand on the console. Retreat, for now. But this is not over. The warship turned and flew back into the dark space beyond the realm. Back. In the base, Mira sat beside Toma. You stopped them, she said. He shook his head. We stopped them. And this is just the beginning. She looked around. What will you do now? Toma looked at the core map, now glowing with light and energy. I'll finish what the first humans started. I'll rebuild this realm. Mira smiled softly. Then I'll stay, she said. To help, to protect, not with war but with purpose. Together, they looked at the screen. The realm was no longer broken. It was waking. It had guardians now, and the storm had only just begun. Toma stood in the control room, looking at the glowing map of the shattered realm. The defense grid was active now. The system was no longer sleeping. Power moved through the old stations. Towers lit up one by one. What was once broken was coming back to life. But this was only the beginning. He turned to Mira, who stood beside him, arms crossed. Her dark eyes fixed on the screen. If we want to rebuild the realm, Toma said, we need to reach the core. Mira nodded. The human core, deep inside the main control planet. It was the heart of the entire system. Is it still there? Toma asked. No one knows, Mira replied. During the war, the core planet was the first to fall. The Zerg attacked it with everything. No one came back. We thought it was lost. Toma touched the map, pointing at the faded symbol of the central world. It's still there, he said. Look, the signal is weak, but it's calling. They prepared the ship. Mira packed supplies and charged her weapon. Toma gathered his tools and a backup power unit. The journey to the core would be dangerous, gravity storms, floating wrecks. Old mines, all of it guarded the center of the realm like a fortress of ghosts. As they flew, the stars around them dimmed. The space near the core planet was darker, filled with broken satellites and debris. Huge pieces of old ships floated like metal giants, frozen in time. There it is, Mira said. The core planet was cracked like a shattered stone. One side was broken open, revealing glowing energy lines running deep inside. Machines still floated around it, some dead, some slowly turning. Toma stared in silence. It's still alive. They landed near a tall tower, half buried in rock. The sky above was black and heavy. No birds, no clouds, no sound, just stillness inside the tower. The walls were lined with human symbols and strange machines. Many were offline, covered in dust. But some still blinked with soft lights. This place is like a sleeping giant. Toma whispered. They moved deeper into the tower, downstairs in long tunnels. The path was dark. Their boots echoed on the floor. At last, they reached a round chamber. In the center was a tall machine twisting cables, glass tubes, and a glowing white core. Around it were 4 broken terminals. This is the heart, Mira said softly. The human core. It linked all the stations. It balanced gravity, power, and even air. With it, the realm was full of life. Toma stepped closer. We can fix it. He opened his tool bag and got to work. Wires were burned, panels were rusted. The main battery was cracked, but he didn't stop. He worked slowly, carefully, like a doctor fixing an injured heart. Mira stood guard. Her ears listened for movement. Old places like this could hold dangers, machines, traps, or worse, memories. Hours passed. Toma wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at the last terminal. I need to restart the main link, he said. But the battery is too weak. We need more energy. Mira thought for a moment. Then she opened her backpack and pulled out a silver cube. This is from my ship, she said. A Zerg energy core. It's strong enough. Toma looked surprised. Won't you need it? I brought it in case we didn't return, she said simply. He took the cube and placed it inside the machine. Lights sparked. The ground shook a little. The core began to glow brighter. Then the terminals blinked to life. One by one, symbols lit up. A voice echoed through the room. System waking. Human core online. Toma smiled. It's working. Suddenly, another sound filled the chamber. Footsteps. Mira turned, baton in hand, from the shadows. 3 tall Zerg soldiers stepped forward. Behind them walked a larger figure, Commander Vesk. I told you it wasn't over, he said. Toma stepped in front of the machine. You followed us, he said. Vesk smiled coldly. Of course, I saw your little light show. The defense grid, the relay station, and now this. He looked around the room. The human core, he said. The last piece. You did the hard work. Now it belongs to me. Mira stepped forward. You will not take it. Vesk raised a hand. You left your place, Mira. You turned your back on strength. But I never stopped. And now, I will control the realm again. Toma stepped between them. You want to rule a broken system. I want to fix it. That's the difference, Vesk laughed. You think fixing makes you strong? No, strength is control. And I will show you. He waved his hand. The soldiers moved fast. Mira rushed forward, striking the first one with her baton. Toma ducked and grabbed a metal rod from the ground. He wasn't a fighter, but he didn't run. The room shook as Mira fought with speed and skill. Toma dodged a soldier's strike and pushed him into a wall. Then Vesk moved. He was quick for his size, powerful and sharp. He struck Mira with a heavy blow. She fell back, hurt but still standing. Toma saw the core glowing brighter. If Vesk got near it, everything would be lost. He ran to the terminal and pressed the restart command. System lock. Manual activation required. A handprint panel opened. Toma. No. Mira shouted. Vest saw it too and ran toward him. Toma placed his hand on the panel. The machine scanned him. A bright light covered the room. Human identity confirmed. Core bond accepted. A wave of energy burst from the machine. Vest was thrown back. His soldiers fell to the ground. Lights filled the room. The walls glowed with blue lines. Power moved through the floor. Toma stood in the center, eyes wide. He was connected. Mira helped him stand. You did it, she said. Toma looked at his hand. The machine had left a mark, a small glowing circle. The core accepted me, he whispered. I'm part of the system now. Mira looked at the fallen soldiers. Veska's gone, for now. Toma looked at the glowing core. This place, it's no longer broken. The power from the human core spread through the shattered realm like a rising tide. Blue light moved over broken planets, floating stations, and shattered moons, slowly. The dead system began to breathe again. Toma stood in the control room of the base, watching the energy flow on the screen. The walls around him hummed with power, steady and strong. He could feel the pulse of the realm in his bones, a quiet rhythm connecting every piece. Mira stood beside him, her eyes calm but alert. We are waking something old, she said softly. Toma nodded. And it's stronger than I thought. But far away, beyond the edge of the system, a dark warship appeared. It was the warship of Commander Vesk, battered but not broken. His eyes burned with anger as he watched the glowing signals coming from the realm. This human. Vesk growled. He thinks he can control the power. But the realm belongs to the strong. And I will take it back. Vesk gave orders to his crew. Prepare the fighters. We attack at dawn. No mercy. Back on the moon base. Toma worked with a new sense of purpose. The human core had bonded with him, giving him a connection to the system's heart. He could feel the energy flows. The machines waking around him. Mira helped him connect to old consoles, learning the language of the lost technology. Together, they repaired ancient systems designed to protect the realm. But time was short. As dawn came, the sky over the shattered realm darkened. Vest's warship appeared above the moon, surrounded by dozens of fast attack ships. The silent ships moved quickly, ready to strike. Mira stood on the rocky ground outside the base, watching the ships arrive. Her baton was ready, but she knew this fight was bigger than weapons. Toma joined her, eyes steady. We can't stop all their ships, he said, but we can protect the base. Mira nodded. The defense grid is active. It will hold for a while. Vest's fighters dropped from the sky like falling stars. They fired energy blasts at the base. The defense grid lit up with blue shields, blocking the attacks. Inside the base, alarms blared. Toma worked at the core console, redirecting power to strengthen the shields. Sweat ran down his face, but his hands were steady. Outside, Mira moved like a shadow, striking enemies who landed on the surface. She fought with speed and skill, her baton glowing bright. The battle was fierce. The sky burned with light and fire. Ships exploded, spinning out of control. But Vesk was not defeated. He boarded the moon with a small team, moving toward the base's core. Mira met him at the entrance. You will not take this place, she said. Vesk smiled coldly. I will take what belongs to me. The fight was brutal. Vesk was strong, but Mira was faster. They clashed in the narrow hallway, their weapons sparking on impact. Inside, Toma faced his own battle. The system was under attack from within. Sabotage signals tried to shut down the core. He fought the code like a warrior, blocking viruses and rewriting commands. His mind raced as he kept the system alive. Suddenly, the core pulsed with light. The defense grid flared, pushing back the enemy ships outside. Toma breathed deeply. He was connected now, part of the realm's heartbeat. Mira managed to push Vesk back. She grabbed a panel and pressed a button. Core shield active. She said. A dome of light formed around the base. Strong and bright, Vesk growled. This isn't over. He disappeared into the shadows, retreating. Outside, the sky cleared. The attackers were gone. their ships retreating into the darkness. Mira turned to Toma. We survived. He smiled. Because we are stronger together. She looked at the glowing core. The realm is waking, and we are its guardians now. The shattered realm was no longer a place of silence and shadows. Light spread over broken moons and ruined stations. Power flowed through ancient machines, breathing life back into the dead system. Toma stood on the highest balcony of the base, watching the stars. His hand still held the small glowing mark left by the human core, a symbol of his bond with the realm. He felt the pulse beneath his feet, the heartbeat of the worlds waking from long sleep. Mira joined him, her eyes soft but strong. You have changed this place, she said. Toma looked at her and smiled. We changed it together. But the danger was not gone. Commander Vest was still out there, wounded but alive. He gathered his forces on a dark ship hidden beyond the realm's edge. His eyes burned with anger and hunger for power. We lost today, he told his soldiers. But the realm is not yet ours. We will return stronger. We will break their new hope. His voice was cold and certain. Prepare for war. Back in the base, Toma and Mira worked to rebuild and protect the realm. Toma learned more from the core every day. How to balance energy, heal damaged machines, and even control gravity fields. The system responded to his touch, and the realms. Broken pieces slowly began to join again. Mira trained warriors from scattered survivors, teaching them to defend their homes without needless violence. She believed strength was not only in battle, but in protection and hope. One day, as Toma studied an ancient console, the system alerted him. New signals detected. A voice from the core said softly, "Unknown ships approaching." He and Mira hurried to the control room. Outside, bright ships appeared from the stars. But they were not enemies. They were explorers, curious and peaceful. Toma smiled. Help is coming. Mira nodded. The realm is becoming a beacon, a home. Vest's return was still a threat, but for now, the shattered realm had found a new guardian. A human who carried its heart and a woman who had left war behind. Together, they were more than survivors. They were a new hope for a broken world. Toma looked at Mira. The realm is ours to protect. She smiled back. And we will, together. The stars above shone bright, welcoming a new age.